You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Damasiewicz.
So Daniel, this edition of Stump Daniel is a special NFL draft quarterback class edition. Going all the way back to 2010. I'm going to tell you what your task is, okay?
I already messed up when Baker Mayfield was an answer because I couldn't remember his name a couple weeks ago.
Before we start, I'm not off the Gardner Minshew train yet, okay? Gardner Minshew, I know there was some inconsistency and he had a lull kind of in the middle. He also finished with a big win, got the team over 30 points in the game, completed 27 of 39 passes for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns in his last game of the season. So the Jaguars got left with a good memory. The actual Jaguars franchise seems to be the only people who have publicly stated, yes, we believe in Gardner Minshew. He's our guy going forward. So anyway, I want to be one of those guys too. You guys want to be those guys as well. But now we're going to go back about 10 years, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the year.
Brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Damasiewicz.
Thank you, Andrew. Stump Daniel is brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Damasiewicz. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damasiewicz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damasiewicz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damasiewicz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damasiewiczlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com. I'm going to give you the year. I'm going to tell you every quarterback that was drafted in the first round. So that way you can kind of remember what the class of quarterbacks was. And then I want you to tell me in that draft class, not just the guys I give you, but in the whole draft, which quarterback has the most career passing yards from that draft class?
Career passing yards?
Career passing yards. So we're going to go back and look at these draft classes. We're going to take a little bit of a look at them. And then you're going to tell me who was the most successful passer out of that class, okay?
Oh, this is going to be a lot of guesswork.
Okay. Now, it is interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but some of these are going to be names I'm going to give you, and some of them are going to be later round guys that ended up being good. All right, so 2010, number 1 overall pick was Sam Bradford. The 25th pick in the first round was Tim Tebow. What was the highest, which quarterback from that class, not just those two guys, but the whole class, had the most passing yards in their career out of the 2010 class?
Wow. Those were the only 2 taken in the first round?
Those were the only 2 in the first round.
Well, Sam Bradford sure had a lot of opportunities, but he was injured a lot.
Okay, here's your hint. This also is the draft that Sean Canfield came out of.
Yes!
From Oregon State. Although it's not Sean Canfield. He threw for 0 career passing yards.
Yeah, I don't think he touched the field, but he was there. Those backup QBU, Oregon State. Geez. I don't think it's Sam Bradford, but I can't think of any other quarterbacks that I'm sure were drafted in that draft. I'm not guessing this yet, but Case Keenum comes to mind. I guess I'll just have to go with Sam Bradford.
Well, Sam Bradford is actually the correct answer. He has 19,449 career passing yards. The next best quarterback out of this class, actually, Daniel, this is another one of your boys, Colt McCoy, drafted in the 3rd round.
There we go.
Yeah, he had 6,080 career passing yards. It actually was a pretty weak quarterback class because the only 2 other notable guys were Colt McCoy and Jimmy Clausen coming out of the 2nd round, who passed for about 2,500 yards in his career. So there wasn't much in that draft class, but you are 1 for 1 to start.
That's a miserable QB draft class.
Yeah, there's some other bad ones. There's some pretty good ones here. Okay, so we're going to move on to 2011. there were 4 quarterbacks drafted in the first round in 2011. You had Cam Newton, drafted first overall. Jake Locker out of UW, drafted 8th overall. Blaine Gabbert, drafted 10th overall. And Christian Ponder, drafted 12th overall.
Why even Ponder passing?
Out of the 2011 class, the entire 2011 class, which quarterback has the most career passing yards?
I'm going to go with Cam Newton.
Ooh, that's incorrect. It would have been Cam Newton. However, in the second round, the Cincinnati Bengals selected Andy Dalton, who passed for
today.
And the Red Rifle has passed for 31,594 yards in his career. Besides Cam Newton. Yeah. Besides Cam Newton, none of the other 3 guys in the first round worked out. In that draft, though, however, Colin Kaepernick was a second-round pick, and he ended up throwing for 12,000 yards and had a good career before he was blackballed from the NFL. And also in the 6th round, a bit of a 6th-round gem, Tyrod Taylor, who's passed for 9,562 yards in his career. All right, Daniel, you're 1 for 2 so far. We're going to move on to 2012. This is a draft class we're very familiar with. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in this class. I'm going to tell you, this was a tough one, and it's close. But number 1 overall, the selection was Andrew Luck. Number 2 overall, the Washington Redskins traded like 1 million picks and 400 geese and soda machine to get Robert Griffin with the 2 pick. And then you had Ryan Tannehill selected 8th overall, who also has had quite a good career and has played a lot of time in the time that he's been in the NFL. And then you had 22nd overall, Old Man Whedon, Brandon Whedon. So those are the 4 first-round picks out of the 2012 draft. In the entire class, Daniel, who has the most passing yards?
I'm going to have to go with, and I really hope this isn't wrong, but I have to go with Russell Wilson.
Oh, 3rd-round pick, Russell Wilson has the most passing yards in that draft class, 29,734, followed by Andrew Luck with 23,671, and then Ryan Tannehill with 23,176. The other notable quarterbacks out of that draft class were 2nd round Brock Osweiler, who passed for a little over 7,000 yards.
Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles also picked in the 3rd round, along with Russell Wilson, has passed for 11,901 yards. And Kirk Cousins, 24,107 yards, more than Andrew Luck, more than Ryan Tannehill. So Kirk Cousins in the 4th round is actually second behind Russell Wilson in that draft class. Okay, Daniel, you're 2 for 3. We're moving on to 2013. Only 1 quarterback was selected in this draft class. Spoiler alert. You're not getting this one correct.
In the first round?
E.J. Manuel was the only first-round quarterback. The only first-round quarterback in this draft. E.J. Manuel, pick number 16. Daniel, who was the most successful quarterback in this class?
Well, it wasn't him. Do I get a hint at all?
Nope. No, because you already got 2 right, so no, you don't.
I'm trying to think of.
Okay, here's your hint. This is a terrible
what was it?
class.
You said it was 2000. Yeah, I got that already.
2013.
Could have been whatever quarterback the Browns took. They take a quarterback every year.
I'm just gonna randomly say. I said his name earlier, and I know that he's got to play a little bit somewhere, and I have no idea what year he was drafted, but I'm going to go with Case Keenum.
Ooh, I'm sorry, that is not correct. The answer is actually Geno Smith, who passed for 6,182 yards in his career as the most successful quarterback out of this class that also included 3rd-round pick Mike Glennon and 4th-round pick Matt Barkley.
What round?
Yeah, it's bad. It was a bad year for quarterbacks. All right, you're 2 and 2 so far.
What round was Smith?
We're moving on. 2nd round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by the New York Jets.
Yeah, well, I remembered it was the Jets.
2014. We have 3 first-round selections. 3rd overall, Blake Bortles. 22nd overall, Johnny Football Manziel. And 32nd overall, Teddy Bridgewater. What quarterback in this whole class has passed for the most yards?
Gosh, that's really tough. There's so many different factors in there, not including the fact that I have no idea who was taken elsewhere in the draft. I don't like that stipulation that I don't get to know who the other candidates were. I feel like that's kind of cheap. I'm gonna go ridiculously, it seems, but I'm gonna go with Bortles.
Well, it would be Bortles, except in the second round, the Raiders took Derek Carr, who was passed for 22,793 yards. Bortles has 17,649. As you can imagine, Johnny Manziel and Teddy Bridgewater's numbers are quite a bit lower.
And as you can imagine, of course, if I would have known Derek Carr was in that draft class.
That's why I'm not telling you all of them. All right. Second round in that class, also notably Jimmy Garoppolo, who's passed for just under 7,000 in his career, but has only played a couple of seasons. All right, moving on to 2015. Daniel, you have 2 correct so far. 1 and 2 were both quarterbacks in the 2015 draft. First overall pick was Jameis Winston. Second overall pick was Marcus Mariota. They were the only 2 quarterbacks picked in the first round of the 2015 draft. What quarterback was most successful out of this draft?
Well, it's in terms of yards, right?
Yep.
Successful is arbitrary. I'm gonna say Winston, because does it also count return yards? I believe is what Andrew said.
Yeah, if somebody intercepts your pass and returns it for a certain amount of yards, it goes against your passing numbers.
Oh.
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with Jameis Winston. He throws for a lot of yards.
Is Jameis Winston with 19,737 yards compared to 13,207 for the often injured Marcus Mariota. Here's the reason why. Nobody else got picked in that draft. Sean Mannion was a third-round pick. He's thrown for 384 yards.
Backup QB,
The next most successful quarterback in that class was 7th-round pick Trevor Siemian, who has passed for 5,689 yards. So that also, considering neither of those quarterbacks really panned out the way they were supposed to, was also a garbage draft, except Sean Mannion from quarterback U coming in the third round. Now moving on to 2016. 3 quarterbacks were picked in the first round. You had Jared Goff, number 1 overall, Carson Wentz, number 2 overall, and Paxton Lynch, 26 overall. What quarterback passed for the most yards out of the 2016 class?
I'm going to go with Jared Goff. Wentz was hurt a lot. Paxton Lynch sucks. And I can't remember other names from outside the first round.
Well, did you say Jared Goff?
Yes.
It would have been Jared Goff, except in the 4th round, the Cowboys picked Dak Prescott, who has passed for 15,778 yards compared to 14,219 for Goff. Wentz also just behind Goff has 14,191. Paxton Lynch has passed for 26 yards. No, sorry. That was his pick. 792 yards.
I had completely forgot that Dak was a 4th-round pick.
Yep, later
same
for us.
here.
Yep. The only other notable quarterback in that class was Jacoby Brissett, 3rd-round pick, has passed for 6,442. But right now, Daniel, you have gotten the ones correct that I gave you the names for. But the ones that you would have had to go, besides Russ, the ones you would have had to go off the board for, you haven't gotten.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe you'd remember some of these guys, but whatever. You don't remember Dak Prescott? You don't remember Derek Carr? I mean, come on. Okay, 2017.
I don't remember what year they were drafted.
2017, first round. Mitchell Trubisky, 2nd overall. The Bears traded up to get him. 10th overall, Patrick Mahomes. 12th overall, Deshaun Watson. There are a couple of other quarterbacks I noted as notable in this draft class, but Daniel, what quarterback from 2017 has passed for the most yards?
This is really tough because there's different qualifying factors for... Trubisky has played... I think he's played the most, but he sucks. Mahomes sat for a year, and Watson had injury issues.
Mahomes sat for most of a year. Trubisky sucked last year, but he actually was pretty good and made the Pro Bowl in his sophomore season.
I'm going to say because they go for so many stinking yards that Mahomes still pulled it out.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually Deshaun Watson has passed for 9,716 yards compared to Mahomes' 9,412. You're about a game off there.
With Watson.
You're about a game off there, Daniel. Sorry. All right, moving on. Oh, the other quarterbacks notable, there really weren't any. Second round, Deshaun Kaiser. Third round, C.J. Beathard were the only two other even remotely notable guys from that draft. Okay,
Didn't you say there were also no notable guys?
I said there were a couple, and I wrote their names
You
down.
liar.
Well, it wasn't a lie as much as it was a deception, which is different. All right, moving on to 2018. You had 5 quarterbacks selected in the first round. First overall pick was Baker Mayfield. Third pick was Sam Darnold. 7th pick, Josh Allen. 10th pick, Josh Rosen. 32nd pick, Lamar Jackson. Daniel, which quarterback among these and others notable has passed for the most yards?
Purely out of having the most games played, I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield is correct. That is the correct answer. Baker has passed for 7,552 yards. Darnold would be next with 5,889. Josh Allen not far behind, 5,163. Lamar Jackson, 4,382. The only other even semi-notable quarterback out of this draft class was third round Mason Rudolph. Moving on to 2019. How many have you got right, Daniel? 4? Let's
4.
see. You got Sam Bradford. You got Russell Wilson. You got Jameis Winston. And you got Baker Mayfield. Okay, so you've got 4. So you could bring it even and go 5-5 if you get this one correct. 2019 draft. All this should be really fresh in your mind. Number 1 overall pick, Kyler Murray. Number 6 overall pick, Daniel Jones. Number 15 overall pick, Dwayne Haskins. Now, as we know, because I rambled about it quite a bit before this segment started, and it's the reason that this segment even happened, Gardner Minshew was picked in the 6th round. That's your hint in this one, okay? So you got Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, and you know Gardner Minshew as well.
I'm still going to go with Kyler Murray.
It is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray passed for 3,722 yards in his rookie campaign. Minshew, as I mentioned before, or maybe I didn't mention it because I was trying to keep it a secret, he passed for 3,271. Daniel Jones not too far behind at 3,027. It's hard to really pick who else was notable out of this draft, but I did want to mention second round was Drew Lock for Denver. Will Grier was a good college quarterback who hasn't had a chance yet. He was picked in the 3rd round. And then Jared Stidham picked in the 4th round, who is potentially the Patriots' next quarterback.
Future
so
Hall of
Daniel,
Famer.
Daniel, you went 5-5, which if we're grading it like a test is a fail. So congratulations.
Hey.
Unfailing.
Or if we're grading it like a baseball player hitting, I'm batting 500.
That's true. Or if we grade it like NFL completions, you're at 50%, and that's pretty bad.
Or if I'm shooting 3-pointers, I'm shooting 50%.
Or if you're shooting free throws, you're shooting 50%.
I wish I would have shot 50% from the free throw line in high school.
Oh, that's pretty bad. Did you shoot below 50%?
My 3-point percentage was better than my free throw percentage.
Sorry, Daniel. I'm sorry.
It was miserable.
Well, that concludes Stump Daniel, which is brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Damasiewicz. And as promised, Daniel did not go 9 for 10. But I would like to mention that the scrimmage is brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Damasiewicz, State Farm agent Mark Rossetti, and also Oli Penn Real Estates. Thank you so much to our sponsors. They help us bring this show to you every single week.